and welcome to this episode of JB&A Today Live. And I say live because we are in Vegas, coming into NAB, which starts tomorrow. And we're talking with some of our partners about the things that they're going to be showing off in the next 4 days at NAB. So this is the live edition of JB&A Today, and with me today is Fisher from Veritone. Okay, Fisher, Veritone. I don't think enough people know what it is yet. So give me the rundown. What is Veritone?
Yeah, so essentially we're seeing that, and as many of you guys will see at the NAB show this week, that machine learning and artificial intelligence is going to become very important in media workflows and other verticals as well. But there's all these best-in-breed engines. So people are, and when we say engines, people are creating transcription, they're creating object detection, face recognition. Veritone's taken a different stance on the market, where we see that these engines are going to explode. There's going to be thousands of them. Today we're tracking 10,000 engines. We have 184 on the platform today, so we've built an ecosystem or an operating system around AI. So in practicality, what that means is that you can drag and drop engines into our ecosystem, and then you can run any applications on top of it. So all the APIs are open, and we're also allowing third parties. You know, we have the big names out there on the platform as engines, but we're also allowing smaller third-party development shops to onboard their engines into this ecosystem to work on top of.
I mean, to sum it up, one of the ways I think about it is an AI for AI.
Correct.
Right? You guys are an AI that aggregates a whole bunch of, when you say others, like we just looked at the number, you guys are at 184 engines. And I think most people only think of Azure and Google and Watson. They think of the big ones that they know of. There's 184 currently under your guys' umbrella. That's amazing. That's a lot more than I think people are really ready to understand.
Yeah, and within that 184 engines per se, there's a lot of categories as well. So we have transcription, face recognition, object detection, logo recognition, geolocation, optical character recognition, and you talked about kind of our layer on top of these engines. So the big stance that Veritone's taken, and where our data science team is spending their research and development time, is actually to build a machine learning layer on top of these engines. Because as many of you guys may know, you're still trying to figure out what's the first two engines we need to start out with, and how are we going to figure out, as this explodes into thousands or hundreds of thousands of engines, which engines to use, right? So we've built this layer on top of this that what we call our conductor layer. It's taking the guesswork out of AI, right? So you can hit one endpoint and it's going to select the engines for you to bring you back the best outcome.
Yeah, and that's based on the thousands of hours you guys have put through the system to say what works best for this type of asset.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty amazing. And so we've been playing with it for a little while here, and it's a lot of fun because it's amazing how much data you can extract by just letting the machines run the gamut, right? Letting them look for faces and build a face library, look for metadata that you didn't know existed, and either logos on the screen. My favorite one is we actually were able to find the Atari logo on my T-shirts.
Okay, nice.
It said, oh, I found Atari, and here it is, right? And so it was just like something so simple allows us so much power over our media. It's really astounding. Now, you got something new though for NAB that you're showing. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so our big push at NAB is going to be now real-time cognition. And so you will have already seen there's engines out there, or there's providers out there doing real-time. If you take Google Translation, I believe is the name of their app, where you can actually flash over like a train sign, and then it's going to translate it into a different language. That's real-time. But that's real-time across a single category. What we're releasing at NAB is a real-time framework to allow us to do real-time across transcription, face recognition, logo detection, and object detection, all at the same time. And when we're saying real-time, it's milliseconds, right? So it's really turning fast turnaround times and giving insight into things such as closed captioning, right? So closed captioning is going to be a big portion of this, and running our conductor layer to improve the NLP and generate closed caption files in real time is going to be a big push this year as well.
And captions are huge. We talked about this little in the pre-show. Everybody needs captions now if they're broadcasting live. I'm talking to schools that are saying, hey, we have to caption everything.
Yeah.
So, we've got to find a better way to do it, a more cost-effective way to pull it off. Because this is exactly that. One of the things I wanted to hit on, so people understand, is you guys have taken the guesswork out of managing all those engines. Yep. And this is really important because, yes, I could go sign up with Amazon and use Amazon's engine, but I've got to manage the APIs, me personally. Then I got to go to Watson, and I'm going to have to do the IBM APIs.
Yep.
And then if I want to use Google, I got to do the Google API. And by the way, each of them are 3 different cloud sites. I have to upload my media 3 times to take advantage of what they might be able to afford me.
Yeah.
Not so true with Veritone, though, right?
Right. So, and the other thing of that is that each provider actually, they kind of spit back a little different output, right? So we're normalizing that output, but what we're also doing is benchmarking this against the market. So they might say we're 80%, right? But 80% against their own testing. We're benchmarking this across all verticals. And if you build it on the integration side, say you build an integration today, as you mentioned, 3 providers, you build the integration once with Veritone, and as we onboard new engines, like we just talked about, we went from 173 last week to 184 this week. That's not going to disrupt your workflow at all, right? So the integration's built, you'll just pass in a different payload, and you already have access to all the new engines.
It's just a new version of Veritone, and it's got more, right?
Yep.
It's like an incremental upgrade from Adobe or anybody else. I think that's really spectacular from that perspective. So the other thing you guys do that I don't know that anybody else is doing from an aggregation side is the ability to run some of this on-premise.
Yep.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So when we first came to the market, we originally came in the M&E space, and it was all cloud-based, right? We were all on AWS, S3, and what we quickly noticed is that there's different deployment models based on the client use case, and especially in our other verticals in the legal and government side of the business, there's DMZ zones. There's nothing is leaving the premise. In M&E as well, right? They already have huge infrastructures built. The media files are sitting there. So what we've built is now 3 deployment models. We have cloud. We have a hybrid model, which is actually we can deploy the engines on-prem. The processing is going to happen there. The metadata is going to get generated, and just the metadata ships up to the cloud to be used by the applications. But the files, especially for things that have not been released yet, the files don't leave. Then we have a third completely on-prem deployment where all the processing happens on-prem. The metadata is generated on-prem, and then today it's transactional, so that it will go into a MAM or DAM system.
No, that's pretty amazing, because for somebody who's saying, look, I want the power of that, but I don't want the power of the cloud. Like we have security issues. We want to keep our media local. We want this stuff to stay here. What can you do for me? And again, I've looked at all the other providers out there. Nobody else is offering that service, and especially trained. I can download Google, but I have to train it myself. Yep. You guys have already got it trained in a point where you can say, cool, download it, run it, start maximizing your media.
Right. So what's really exciting too about our Veritone developer application is that as new engine developers onboard engines, we're actually pushing everyone to containerize them. So as they onboard an engine, they have a couple options what they can choose. They can choose mostly network isolated, where it's checking just for a license check. And in M&E, they don't usually mind if it's just making a license check. We really are pushing people towards completely network isolated, so it's just running containerized, no outside calls at all.
Are these Docker containers?
Yep, Docker containers. So it's really extensible too. You could run them lightweight. You could run the full gamut of them. And so today, on completely network isolated, we actually have 84 of those 184 engines can completely run on-prem, no outside calls.
That number's gone up too. It was smaller when we first started talking.
Yep, and that's through our Veritone developer application. So
that's amazing. No, really cool, guys. So there's so much fun here. So we talked about this a couple times on the bench show, just about the power of being able to unlock your media very quickly.
Yeah.
And how long it takes for a manual transcription to come back versus Veritone getting it done in a matter of minutes.
Yep.
Seconds. So very powerful stuff. So listen, really excited. You're on the show floor this year at NAB.
Yep.
You guys have your own booth, or where are you at?
We're in a few booths. We'll be in Quantum, AWS, NetApp, as well as Google, and then I think a few more might have been added, so we'll definitely keep you guys updated.
Everywhere you look, you're going to see Veritone at NAB. All right, so they're here all day at our show, or you can catch them live on the NAB show floor at just about every cloud provider, storage provider on NAB. Fisher, thank you so much
for
coming on the show.
It's great to be on.
Really appreciate it. All right, this has been JB&A Today Live Edition at NAB. We'll see you on the next episode.